Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I'm your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I'm your Cobra intern. Oh my gosh, doing this out of order always throws me off. Anyway, I'm your Cobra intern that was traumatized when Baroness asked me for a scrub mommy, codename Legion Cub.
And I am sitting in for a Televiper that couldn't be here today. I'm Jonathan Davenport, codename Deadline, because that's what my month has been like.
Oh man, yeah, you've had a few things going on, and we got to introduce you for anybody listening or watching that may not know. Jonathan, you're known from the Needless Things podcast, where we've had a lot of fun doing our Hasbro flashback episodes. But you come to us from give us a little synopsis of you real quick.
Of me, a synopsis? Man.
Yeah.
How long's this stream go? It's a circuitous route, but so probably most people know me from my pro wrestling gear design career, where I make shiny pants for fake fighty boys. Pretty fun work. I got pulled into that from working with Xavier Woods from the New Day. I met him through a Craigslist ad. We did some weird stuff together. I'll let you guys fill in the blanks. And then he pulled me into pro wrestling with him. So that's kind of my current claim to fame, but I've lived many lives. I was a game designer for a while and wrote a bunch of family-facing games for Disney, Nickelodeon, like pretty much any family IP you can think of, I probably wrote for. I made some short films and some commercials. I made an animated short a couple years ago with Big E that got nominated for some awards, which was pretty fun and very personally rewarding. And
Ruby Bridges,
the Ruby Bridges film, yes,
yeah.
And my family action comedy that I wrote, F Plus, came out last year. That was very fun too. And this year, what I'm hawking is something super weird, but I can finally talk about. I couldn't talk about it last time we were hanging out. But the Superman experience is about to go live this Friday. I think is the actual opening. It's on the Warner Brothers lot. So it's not like super easily accessible, but like, you know, if you book a tour, if you happen to be in California, if you book a tour for the Warner's lot, you want to see the Friends couch or the Batmobiles, you can also, for a small upcharge, go experience the Superman experience. And it's like it's 3D, it's interactive, it's super fun, and then it empties out into like a giant Fortress of Solitude that was built from the ground up. It's super cool.
I 100% thought you were going to say it empties out into a giant gift shop where you can buy lots of Superman merchandise, because
it is the gift shop.
As theme park people, we know that's usually how that works.
Yes, sir.
Well, we are delighted to have you here on Audible Interlude, and the Joe connection was one of the first things that you and I had started talking about.
I always have to jump in when you mention this, because I don't want anyone to think that you went out and grabbed me and pulled me into this. It's complete opposite. I saw you guys on Instagram, and I was like, there's a G.I. Joe club? I want to be the G.I. Joe club. So I reached out to you, and I'm like, if you'll ever have me, I want to come talk Joe with some cool dudes.
Well, and what's so funny is, like, we've talked about, we've really, as much as that was the start, it's been the least of what we've done shows about so far. But it's because just in talking, you and I have these other ideas, and I'm like, oh no, we got to do this first. We've already got 2 more Needless Things episodes that I'm not going to spoil here, but 2 more concepts that we've come up with that we're like, well, we got to do this. Well, now we got to do this. So that's I'm glad you reached out, because we've had some great conversations out of it, and that's what it's all about, right?
I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to make new friends at this point in my life. You know, just when you think like, well, that's it. The idiots I know are the only idiots I'm going to know. You know, sometimes you meet some new idiots. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And no, 100%. That's what in the sort of lifestyle changes that I've been going through lately. That's what I've learned in doing some new things and trying some new things is it's really more about us and the habits we get stuck in than it is about, oh, there's no new people. You know, we get comfortable and look, I am a comfortador. I love my comfort. I love my recliner, my dog in my lap, and sitting here watching Mythbusters all day long. I'd love to do it, but we got to break out of that and meet wonderful new people. So before we get any deeper, of course, we've got the normal show open stuff I've got to get through. Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Click that follow button. Be sure you're subscribed. Leave us a 5-star review. But most importantly, share Audible Interlude stuff. Whether it's on socials or just telling a friend about it or whatever, the only way that we can grow is with your help. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. And while you're there, check out the pinned stories, and you can visit our TeePublic store and get yourself some Audible Interlude merch. We've got shirts and hats and shorts and mouse pads and whatever. You can get Audible Interlude logos all over everything. And if we see you at a live event wearing some of our stuff, we'll give you a little piece of swag that you can only get from repping Audible Interlude out in the wild. And of course, that is also a great way to spread the word about Audible Interlude. You are watching us right now on the Needless Things YouTube channel, where you can catch not only live Audible Interlude, but also tons and tons and tons of toy reviews of different things. Coming up this week, I reviewed the new Definitely Not Jack Nicholson Joker figure from McFarlane Toys. So that review is going up. A couple other things that have been waiting for a little while. So just keep an eye on the channel. All kinds of different toys being reviewed all the time. Plus, you can now catch the audio versions of all of our releases on the channel as well. So our audio episodes will now be available on the channel on the same Friday they're released. So that's cool. And all of the interviews. So let me get this little graphic up here.
Of which there's only a few, right?
So there's plenty of Needless Things podcast interviews, but currently we're in the midst of interviews with the creators of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero silent missions that are coming out throughout the month of April. I had the good fortune of interviewing Alex Antone, who is the editorial director of Real American Hero for Skybound. Awesome guy, third time on the show. He kind of talked about the overview of silent missions and also the Compendium Volume 2 Kickstarter that's going on right now. That interview is available now. Gabriel Hardman, who was a great conversation. He was the creator on the Crimson Guard issue. You can hear that interview right now. And then the newest one to go up went up yesterday. Tom DeFalco. Yes, that Tom DeFalco. And Pat Olive, who did the Zartan issue. You can check that interview out wherever you get your podcasts or right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. And then finally, this coming Sunday, really great conversation with Howard Porter, who did the Copperhead issue, which is coming out next week. And that'll be the final, Firefly will be the final issue, but I wasn't able to set up an interview with the creators on Firefly, but I had some awesome conversations with these people. And thank you again to Skybound for giving me the opportunity to talk to, people in the business. I really, really appreciate that. Our next live stream. Oh, we got to put our duck away. Sorry, I've got my my little themed images right in the middle there. Our next Audible Interlude live stream. So pay attention. Normally, it would be 2 weeks from today, but we have done 3 live streams in a row. Next week will be an audio episode. Noel will be back with us from his tour of Japan. And the week after that should have been a live stream, but I will be in Denver and there is no way I can coordinate a live stream. But we will have a new audio episode that week and the following week. So we will not be live again until May the 11th, which is, by the way, the day after my birthday. So you've got plenty of time to take a look at my Amazon wish list and send stuff to the big guy. So May 11th, put it on your calendar. We will be back live on the Needless Things YouTube channel. So that's all the upfront stuff we got to get out of the way. Kristian, you want to say hi to the chat? Who's hanging out tonight?
I am. So we have Wreck Ship also chiming in. The Crimson Guard issue is awesome. I agree. That one surprised me. I'm not saying I was looking forward to all of them. That one caught me off guard. Brett White jumping in to say hello. Starfighter saying it's an Audible Magic Monday, and we do also love a good alliteration here.
We sure do. Just another Magic Monday.
And Thor Golden Cub coming in with the super chat. Hey guys, love to all. Can't believe Dragon Con is in 4 months.
Oh my gosh.
Let's just
well, okay, so
ooh, time
before Dragon Con, Stellarfest is here in Duluth, 2 weeks away. We've got the crew has several, nothing G.I. Joe, because this is a strictly like science fiction convention. This is Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who. Those are like the three big things there. They've got room for other stuff as well, but it's not really a G.I. Joe environment. But we're doing the big damn game show at Stellarfest. We've got some other panels going on. We're doing a panel of adventure. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll probably have some things to say the Monday after that. Well, no, 2 weeks after that, because I'm doing Stellarfest Friday, Saturday, then Sunday I fly out to Denver. It's going to be
sleep on the plane.
That's crazy.
It's going to be rough. But so yeah, lots of stuff coming up. But yeah, Dragon Con in 4 months. Audible Interlude will be back at Dragon Con. The big damn game show will be back at Dragon Con. And I'm working on another sort of set of projects for Dragon Con that hopefully I'll be able to talk about soon. And I'll just say this as a little teaser for Kristian, well, and for Jonathan, because you were here before we went live. Kristian, it has to do with what you shared before we went live.
Oh.
Yeah. So exciting stuff. Oh, also I got to mention our review of G.I. Joe number 21 from Skybound will be available this Wednesday wherever you get podcasts. This is a big week, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
Between the Tom DeFalco and Pat Olive, we're live right now. Wednesday, we've got a comic review going up. We got a lot going on this week. So a little follow-up. I'll just say this. I'm going to save it for a future Joe and Tell. But my Battle Force 2000, or as I like to call it, BF2K, my BF2K collection continues to grow. More on that later. And I don't think. Oh, actually, I'm going to save it for news because I felt like it was big enough. Oh no, wait! I just put it in the wrong place. Sorry. You guys don't even understand how much I had to change our notes before we went live because like 3 different things happened that I had to throw in here. So have you guys got any Joe incoming or any Joe adjacent on the way that you're aware of?
I actually wanted to touch on this. Hasbro Pulse. What is going on? Because at this point, you're still saying that Zap is not shipping until May. And everybody else has it.
Wow.
This is becoming a habit. And, we used to always joke I was the last person to get anything. 1, because of Florida. And 2, because I was loyal mostly to Hasbro Pulse. But it has gotten, the delays have gotten more ridiculous.
Yeah, because I feel like March is when people were finding Zap. Yeah, because it was before Toylanta. Chris found Zap in a store.
Yeah.
Like on their way to Toylanta.
I'm not saying that you have to get the figures to us before all the others.
Sure.
But you should at least be shipping your figures out around the same time that like Big Bad and Entertainment Earth are, because you're the one supplying them.
That's the thing. Like,
why are
Hasbro Pulse? It's right behind you, right? Like it's in the next room.
But we've talked about that before. That's not really the case, because Hasbro Pulse is a separate entity from Hasbro. Oh. They get shipped stuff from the Hasbro, like whatever like they get shipped stuff the same way the retailers do. It's not like Hasbro has it's not like Hasbro has a big gigantic warehouse and Pulse just walks over and grabs from that supply. Pulse gets shipped stuff the same as Big Bad or Walmart or anybody else. And we've speculated before that kind of part of the deal is that Pulse intentionally gets stuff after the other retailers, because that just seemed to be the case for so long. But there have been exceptions. But to your point, Kristian, my Kitty Pryde and Colossus, the Astonishing X-Men versions, shipped yesterday. No, today. They charged yesterday. They shipped today. Now, fortunately, it's from that brand new Midway, Georgia warehouse, so they're getting here tomorrow, which I like. I like that we're back on that schedule. But it seemed like a couple of weeks ago, people started getting it from Amazon and other retailers. But this is not. I mean, this one isn't a urgent thing for me. But yeah, May is a little late for Zap.
Yeah, like I want to be loyal. I want to support the website, but I've just been canceling more and more stuff so that I can buy it elsewhere. You know, I'm patient enough to say like, oh, okay, a month after everybody else gets it, sure. But at this point, it's going to be like 2-3 months.
No, you know me, I'm ruthless, man. That pre-order roulette, that's how I roll.
With my work schedule, I would totally be forgetting to go in and cancel, and it just would not be pretty.
So after last week's episode, I was contacted by a member of the Audible Army, a very, very talented designer named Todd Bratchford. And I hope I didn't mangle his last name too badly. Skateboard, if you go to his Instagram, some skateboard decks that are absolutely phenomenal. So he hits me up and he's like, hey, you were talking about wanting to make that custom Kraken figure. And he sends me this.
No way.
Yeah.
Which is even better than what I was envisioning. It is so my idea, my formula was going to be the Super 7 Reaction Plus Creature from the Black Lagoon, arms, legs, and head with one of the Skeletron Wolf Trooper O-ring torsos. So you'd have that red, you know, with the, but he's taken it a step further and used an eel, like repainted an eel torso and head. And if you're watching this on the Needless Things YouTube channel, even gone in and painted like the green skin and the yellow eyes behind that helmet, and used that to create what looks like a mutant underwater Cobra troop, but then goes even further and you realize,
no way.
He's made 2 of them and they are like to go with Mara.
It's so cool.
That is awesome.
Blew my
awesome
mind.
Wow.
He said that you essentially have to destroy that. He also sent pictures of the creature torso. He said it's glued together. You pretty much have to destroy it to get it apart. But since you're not using that to do this kit, well, this isn't even a kit bash anymore. This is a full-on custom because obviously there was quite a bit of painting and customizing involved, you know, in the torsos and the heads. But these are beautiful. This is so far beyond what I was thinking of doing, and I love it. So, Todd, thank you so much for sharing these with us and letting me share them on the show. Because I was like, do you mind if we give the Audible Army a look at this? And he was all about it. So I love seeing this kind of stuff.
That's killer. That's killer. Yeah, I love when you see people make customs. I don't know, man. You know, sometimes you see some of the stuff that comes out mainline, and it's great. No shade. It's awesome. But every once in a while, you get something from out in the world, out in the community that does something that you never would have thought of, and it kind of puts them to shame. It's really cool.
Well, what I love is when I see a really good custom concept that I hadn't thought of, but that totally makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Like, that's the kind of stuff that really gets me excited, and that's absolutely what these guys are. So in shipping news, speaking of shipping, I shot Kristian and Noel a little message earlier today saying, oh my gosh, avalanche of Fresh Monkey Fiction coming soon. So I got those emails from Big Bad Toy Store saying these pre-orders are processing soon. So let's go ahead and just run through them just for fun, because you can still pre-order these right now, and they're going to be arriving at Big Bad any day now. So if you've been waiting for the last minute, this is it. This is the last minute. First up, Count Iron Moon. Just that white uniform design, the red shadows look, the Electro Whip, which is
amazing.
It's so funny because as we go through these, you see where the inspiration came from for so many of these figures. But this guy in particular, I mean, he's a fronter. He's going to stand out on the shelf like crazy. He's got that really unique portrait with the eye patch. Just looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
Major Noir, who, speaking of incredible portraits, look at that. What is that? Is that a Van Dyke?
Yeah.
That's the term
looks like
for
it,
that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With the white hair, he's got that smirk, that eyebrow, and alternate werewolf head. Always a good thing.
Yep.
The Crimson Moon helmet. The gun, which is somewhat reminiscent of the Battle Armor Cobra Commander gun, like a little bit.
Yeah, I see it.
Brett White said, Mark Harmon?
Yes,
it is.
Finally,
it's summer
finally,
school.
I can start getting to work on my summer school customs. Order of the Crimson Moon, which I guess this is just cult members. Like, it doesn't seem to have a specific character name, but we are seeing reuse of that fantastic hooded head that came with the Soldier of Fortune figure, and that soft goods robe looks so good. But this is one of those cases where if you watch my review of the deluxe Papa Emeritus figure from Super 7, I used that as a base and put the robe from one of the Ultimate figures on that figure just as a body. So, like, I'm going to put this robe on some generic other figure and get two figures out of this set. Matter of fact, Kristian, I'm finally going through my Marvel Legends. I've got a bag full that I've taken off the shelf. So one of those is getting that robe and that one of those hooded heads, and I'm going to have a whole separate figure.
Well, what did you do with the blue suit body?
It's still sitting in the workshop. So yeah, actually, I could use it. Well,
throw another head on it.
I think what's probably going to happen is one of the heads that comes with one of these Crimson Moon guys is going to go on that, because as you'll see in a minute, we're getting a lot of heads that we don't have something to do with a lot of. So yeah, lots of fun with this guy. Wolf's Bane.
That looks great.
I know, and look at the Robo Sapien Army Builder portrait. I mean, call that whatever you want.
Fantastic.
That's like Destro 3000.
Yes.
You mean,
and this is
2000.
I mean, it's very Red Jackal meets modern Destro.
Yeah.
Just looks great. And it comes with those great virus or whatever canisters that came with that other figure that I didn't even know was going to have. So this was a must-have. My point here in looking at all these is I went through probably about a month ago. I went through all my pre-orders at Big Bad, and I was like, surely I don't need all of these Crimson Moon figures.
Yes.
And I was wrong. Crimson Moon Trooper, which is just the standard issue, kind of red shadowed, but with the werewolf head. And see, this is the issue: is I want like 8 of every single one of these,
Yeah.
because you go back to Major Noir, and he's got that black mask and black helmet that technically should go on that body.
Well, they were smart with this wave, because if you're wanting to make your Action Force villains, it's like, this piece comes with this character,
right?
This piece comes with this character. So it's, in a weird way, it's Build-A-Figures.
It is Build-A-Figure,
but you're getting whole figures. You know, it's
well,
not like,
it's Build-A-Figure, except you aren't getting enough extra parts to build a whole figure. You still have to buy, because here's what happens. This next figure, I don't really want anything that's this figure, because I just am not that interested in zombie werewolf, but it comes with that helmet.
Right. But
that you put on.
But that portrait.
The helmet goes on that one, right?
Right.
For Count Ironblood.
But Baron Ironblood's head, it comes on, is the Mark Harmon head. That's Baron Ironblood. So you have to put his head on the other body to make Baron. And that face sculpt, that smirk is so good. I feel like I don't even want to put the helmet on him.
Well, that's the problem.
Display it with it.
But I love that helmet so much. It's such a retro, like Doctor Who looking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to decide. But I'm probably going to end up just flipping this whole body and only keeping that helmet, because I just don't want the torn up zombie werewolf. It's cool. It's just not something I need.
Yeah. Cool helmet though.
Right.
Wasn't there a dude in like Eagle Force that had a helmet very much like that?
Well, so if you're talking about like the recent Eagle Force that was sold through Big Bad, they did do a Baron Ironblood in that line. He just, again, they weren't calling him that.
Got it. No, I was thinking diecast, like the old.
I don't think so, but I am not versed enough in Eagle Force. I have like 10 of them in a Ziploc bag that I inherited from somewhere.
Mine are in a Ziploc bag too, actually.
Yeah. They're tough to display.
It's Rexship says it's smart, and it's also skirting copyrighted characters. And here at Audible Interlude, we love skirted copyright characters.
That's true. And then Agent Carter also arriving soon. And as I mentioned, I don't necessarily need a humanoid anthropomorphic chimp, but I do want the white tux jacket and trousers, because those need to go with the George Lazenby head that comes with the Secret of the Serpent Temple figure. And all of that stuff that we just looked at, pre-orders processing soon. Whew.
Wow.
It's going to be an expensive week.
Right? Well, it's going to be an expensive week, and like now my reviews for the next like month are locked in. So excited for all of that stuff, shipping soon from Big Bad Toy Store. And if you have not pre-ordered, you still can. Now, I don't know, I can't guarantee that you'll get them from this shipment, because often what happens is they'll get a small quantity of product that'll go out to the first people who pre-ordered, and then they'll get more later on. So I can't guarantee you'll get it now if you order it right now, but it all should be within the next month or so. Like their full supply, I would imagine, will come in. So pretty excited about all that. And you can see the reviews right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. So with that, that's just a little bit of follow-up, a little bit of what's going on right now. Before we get to the news, it's Jonathan time.
What?
So let's just talk a little bit about your history with Joe.
All right. What would you like to know?
Well, okay, so how'd
My
you
life's
find
an
it
open comic
first?
book.
How'd you find it first? Comics, toys, or cartoon?
Oh man. Whew. I guess my first my first exposure was that commercial. I think we talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. It was a commercial for a comic that featured toys that was presented as animation. So it was like just the full package that got me. And I don't know, man. I think the Sunbow style of animation was just so good. Yes, sometimes there's some mistakes, but who hasn't made mistakes? But I think when
Sure.
it was hitting, it was so energetic and so powerful. And there was something about just seeing that commercial that made me go like, "Oh my gosh, I've never heard of this. It's exciting. These characters feel fully fleshed out. Like it didn't feel phoned in or generic. It felt like these are real. I don't know. It felt like there was history there. So it led me to the comic. And then, as you know, from reading the comic, once you're in the comic, you're in the world.
Yeah.
And then the weird part was I saw the cartoon, the actual show, like last, because from the comic, then I went to the toys. I got Flash, I got a Polar Battle Bear, and I think like a Stalker was next. Does anyone Stalkers have thumbs? Because I feel like that was like the first to go.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
with all that first wave.
Yeah,
they're all just
they
thumbless.
were that brittle, the brittle plastic. They all have issues. Zap is the one that is almost always just thumbless. But yeah, all of them, all the thumbs, that front piece on the crotch, like all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
just
yeah,
because
yeah.
they just weren't made.
They were
to last.
good at fighting terrorists of Cobra, not the terrorists of the Yakuza.
And from the toys, then eventually, the cartoon hits, and I was like immediately sold. And I know that now, I mean, I guess all's forgiven, but like there was a period during our, just as a society of geeks, our postmodern era, when it was time to start making fun of all the things that we actually love. There was a bit where we were ragging on Joe for having lasers instead of like actual real ammunition and real weapons or whatever. But guys, I think they made the right call, at least for someone like, we just talked about this. If there's a sprinkling of sci-fi, I'm in. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that they had lasers and the fact that they were borrowing so many sound effects from the Lucasfilm library, like it worked on me immediately, because I've never been like a soldier army guy. Like it's not like an interest of mine, but you hand them laser rifles and I am in. So I loved it. And I have proof, because there was a Rambo cartoon that came out around the same time with, they just had regular bullets and yellow muzzle flashes, and I was immediately out. So I know for a fact that the lasers pulled me in and kept me in. And it's just been a lifelong love affair ever since.
Well, and that's kind of to this day, you have like sort of, I'm not going to say quite factions. It's not quite that divided, but you've got Joe fans. It's a spectrum. You've got some who are like hardcore military. They want Call of Duty, heads getting blown off, like ultra realistic military Black Hawk Down stuff.
Right.
And then you've got people who actually enjoy G.I. Joe. So it's just, it's two different things. We joke, we kid, there's room for G.I. Joe is for everyone. Do you remember what your core era initially of Joe was? Were you like an 82 to 87 guy? Did you hang in for a little longer? Like, do you remember kind of the bulk of your fandom back in the day?
100%. Yeah. Definitely starting in the 82. Love that. And then I hung in much longer than my friends. When my friends started getting into other things, I was like, bye. Now, more for me. I really got into it. Like, I wish we had like actual era names for like that original All-American here or G.I. Joe run, because I want to say like G1 and like G2, like in Transformers lore, but whatever. But the season that ushered in Flint, Shipwrecked, Lady J, the Crimson Twins, Serpentor, like that whole era is so juicy and delicious to me. Like I love it with my whole heart. The movie was like, I don't care. I love the movie. I think it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, we love the movie here.
I think I signed out around Operation Dragonfire when.
Oh wow, so you did stick around a little bit longer.
When the voices changed and the animation took a dip, that's about when I was like, oh man, this doesn't. It felt like the New Adventures of He-Man. Remember that with the blonde?
Oh yeah.
Same.
Unfortunately, I do remember that. Yeah.
It felt like fake to me, and I was like, oh, this isn't. It felt wrong, you know. It felt counterfeit, so I had to leave around then.
See, I was out before Operation Dragonfire even happened. As a matter of fact, I did not know that there was a second G.I. Joe cartoon from a completely different production company until years down the road. Actually, Noel and I kind of discovered that at the same time.
Oh, wow.
After we got to be friends and discovered that we were both like huge G.I. Joe fans.
They were trauma bonded.
Yeah. Well, I got Operation Dragonfire from like a Blockbuster for, you know, $1 or $2 or whatever it was. And I was like, what is this? I've never heard of this. And we watched it and
we're still like, what is this?
I still don't know.
It is the bridge between Sunbow and Deke because while it's a Deke production, it still feels Sunbowy. I think if somebody didn't know, you could pass it off as, oh, well, this is what came out after the movie. Oh, okay. I didn't know there was another thing. All right. It's not as good, but okay. Like it doesn't do the full dive into craptitude that Deke later would do from time to time. But we do love Deke here also.
We do.
What was Deke? Was it G.I. Joe Extreme?
No, it's just G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
The second G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero animated series.
I don't know if I know about this. What's the difference between that and Dragonfire? Like what happens?
So Operation Dragonfire was the initial Deke miniseries. It's not Sunbow.
Okay.
And it came out in 1989. And they did that 5-episode miniseries that is, like I said, it's about as close to it's as close to Sunbow as Deke ever gets again.
Got it.
And then in 1990, I think these dates are right? 1990, so. The actual Deke regular cartoon launches, and they have two seasons and 60 episodes, something like that. I don't 65. Know off the top of my head. 65. Wow. Okay.
I had no idea. I'm learning this right now.
Yeah, it is a completely separate, and that's why it's got different voice actors. The animation is nowhere near as good. Now, some of the scripts are quite good, but because of the lowered production values all around, they don't, like we've reviewed some Deke episodes where we're like, this could have been a Sunbow, but it's Deke production values. That's the difference there.
Wow.
Dragonfire was 1989. Deke episode started in 90.
So I love it when my brain works.
You got it right. So what's G.I. Joe Extreme? We all know that's probably in the 2000s because that's when everything went extreme.
95.
95? Wow.
95.
Hold on. I also need to correct something.
Okay.
Because 65 is the standard number of episodes needed in animation, first run syndication. But Deke, actually, it looks like, according, it's 20 episodes.
Oh, that's not right.
Oh, sorry. There's not, sorry. There's 19 in season 1. There's 20 in season 2. So 40
that's it.
Plus Operation Dragonfire. That's really low.
Yeah, that is really low. I thought there were more than that.
So did I.
And yet gargantuan compared to what we get right now.
Oh, yeah, good point. Extreme's 95, right? Because Extreme and Sergeant Savage are right. Because Sergeant Savage was 94, Extreme was 95, I want to say.
Extreme was 95.
95.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that got a Dark Horse comic that, from what I've heard, was very good. We haven't gotten around to reviewing it yet. We'll get to it someday. And yeah, we won't get too deep into all of that, because the main thing I want to know next is, when did you come back to Joe?
So, good question. That's a really good question, actually. I do know that it was always on my mind, because somewhere at some time, I think I mentioned this on one of the other shows. It was time for me to make a website for myself. And
yes.
And so I bought the domain davenpo.com, and it still exists. I haven't paid for it in a decade, maybe 2 decades. I don't know. I don't know where it's hosted, because
you were surprised I had even seen it.
That's right. That's right. And like,
Yeah.
I, envisioned myself as a G.I. Joe character, and the whole thing was a blister pack. So it was always with me. When did I come back? That's a great question. It must have been through the comics, because I don't know why. Oh, you know what it was? I know what it was. The what was the new line? Was it the 25th anniversary?
Yeah,
line
2007, the 25th anniversary stuff.
When they started revamping them, just with new engineering and new articulation, but the same basic aesthetics. I was in love with that line, and we still had Toys R Us's back then. Toys R We.
Yeah.
And I just went in and just started recollecting. And I was like, my goal was, I want to have every figure that I had growing up, but I want the new version of it. And so that started pulling me back in. Every once in a while, somebody gets a new license with a comic, and that's always fun to jump into. And then there was the movie, and then I think I may have left again.
See, I was so dug in, because the 25th anniversary, I mean, I got back in 97 and basically have been in since then. But the 25th anniversary stuff hit, and like you said, it was so exciting to be collecting just updated versions of what we had as a kid. I didn't have any sense of the engineering not being great on some of them at the time. I was just excited. We had this great new G.I. Joe product that was all fitting the same aesthetic. It all matched each other. Had the beautiful, the card art that I grew up with. Yeah. It was just so exciting. And I was so into collecting Joe at that point that the movie hit. And first of all, 2009 is, I think, still possibly the greatest G.I. Joe release year of all time. The toy, if you look like on Yo Joe at everything that came out in 2009, it's insane. But I enjoyed the movie. Was it what I wanted? No. Was it what I would have made myself? No. But I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. But before we get too deep into movie talk, which, by the way, I see you setting up that segue. Good job, sir. But we're completely going to disrupt your segue, because we do have a little bit of news we got to talk about before we get into the meat of the show, which is talk about the possibilities of a current movie. But let's get this news out of the way first, and then we'll move on. All right. Not a ton, because when you do 3 live streams in a row, there's only so much Joe news to go around. But this was very interesting to me. This is one of the things that popped up today that I thought was worth mentioning, and that I had to add to the notes right before we went live.
Oh, wow.
Protecting auction integrity on eBay. Starting, who here, show of hands, who here sells on eBay? Kinda, some. Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I stopped selling as much on eBay over a year ago is because I would get people who would win the auctions and then not pay. Well, good news, everybody. Starting May 13th, 2026, buyers in the U.S. who win auctions on eBay will no longer see an option to cancel orders. Nice. That is great news for sellers, because that has been one of the rampant problems with eBay over the past few years.
What's the thinking behind the canceling? Is it someone is hoping to resell it, like they secure it and then they're looking for a buyer and they don't get one, and so they cancel the order? Like, why go through all the trouble?
So there are a few different reasons for that. One of them is just purely the person decides, oh, I don't want this. Which by the time you've gotten to bidding and placing the winning bid and doing all that stuff, it's too late. You made a decision. But that's probably the most innocent of the reasons. One of the biggest problems with this is people using fake accounts or dummy accounts to artificially increase the price of items on eBay.
Oh, gross.
So, yeah. So let's say you've got the Hasbro LJN style Sergeant Slaughter, the big rubber Sergeant Slaughter from 80, not 88. Surely it's not that late. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that it's selling for $700 to $800, which is about normal for that. Well, if you've got a buddy with some sock puppet accounts or dummy accounts or whatever they're called, you can put that figure up for sale and you can have them bid it up to $1,400 and then they cancel it. But that winning bid for $1,400 is still tracked in eBay. So now it's still showing sold for $1,400. And now people who research will see, man, one of those just sold for $1,400.
That explains so much.
That is so sinister.
So why we're making this change? Auctions on eBay work best when winning bidders follow through and pay. Yeah, no kidding.
They've decided that. Research shows.
Yeah, right. You've told us that canceled bids disrupt your sales, hurt the item's value, and create overhead. To better protect you, we'll be removing the option for buyers to cancel winning bids. So anyway, that's the long and short of it. It's a good thing for sellers. Honestly, for buyers should be buying with intent anyway. So who cares if this is good for, this will not affect legitimate buyers, basically. Right. It's just protecting sellers, which is something that eBay hasn't cared too much about doing for the past couple of years. So this is some good news, and I like kicking things off with good news.
I like it.
In other news, we mentioned the HissTank.com March Madness that was going on, and we are in the finals. You can go vote right now. The finalists, against all logic and common sense, are Blizzard and Thrasher.
This is the Crimson Guard at Dragon Con all over again. My mind is blown.
But this is what happens when you have stuff like highly demanded characters that haven't been done up against like fan favorite. Like, it's mind-boggling to me how we got here. But in the chat, tell us in the chat, Blizzard or Thrasher, who would you rather see in classified? And you can, of course, go vote right now at hisstank.com. I mean, my pick is Thrasher out of those two. And as Noel pointed out, I don't really want a Thrasher without a Thunder Machine, but I would rather have Thrasher than Blizzard.
Yeah. I mean, Blizzard isn't the punching bag of the podcast like it used to be in our early years. But that helmet, I still can't.
Well, I want to see what it'll look like in classified, but not more than I would want to have Thrasher.
Right.
And honestly, I don't think they should include vehicle drivers in this.
Yeah.
Because that's asking a different question. If it's a single carded figure, you're asking the question of, do you want this character in classified? Mm-hmm. But if it's a vehicle driver, they're asking the question, do you want this character even if it doesn't come with the vehicle? And that's
muddies it up. Yeah.
So I think that's been brought up before, but his tank's going to do what his tank does. So a little bit of news there. And then finally, last piece of news, believe it or not, we got a little update from Grindhouse Toys. Our buddy Chris said that Chris Galrich from the Four Horsemen sent their first articulated check models just in time for Toylanta. And you guys, I gotta take the hit on this one. I was there. I helped Chris set the booth up. I hung out, and I did not get pictures, close-up pictures of those check models, because I was having so much fun hanging out with those guys and talking and doing all that stuff. I didn't even think of getting pictures of them, and I should have. They were able to get check models of the Revenant Horde Trooper and the Green Army Men from Hell. These are sized 100% and 3D printed, but articulated. They will use those check models to check size and make sure everything moves, looks right before they start cutting the molds. And he just uploaded a deep dive video going over the models, which is where I got this.
Nice.
So if you go to the Grindhouse Toys YouTube channel, this is the only video up right now, so it is very easy to find. But he does do a thorough look at both of these check models, and it's really, really cool to see how he's designed these O-ring figures.
That's really cool.
Yeah, his stuff is awesome. If you haven't checked out World War Hell, go give it a look. Oh man, you will love it. His aesthetics are just awesome.
I love the title.
Yeah. He gets it. He gets it. And with that, that's it. That's all the news we had for this week. Like I said, things dry up when you do 3 weeks in a row. So the next segment is, Jonathan, this is when I said, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about?
So what do you want to talk about?
You said, let's talk about the possibilities, because we were planning this episode out a few weeks ago when the potential G.I. Joe live action movie news was hitting between Max Landis, boo, and Danny McBride, yay. So it was, but look, new live action Joe movie talk is never going to get old. We've been doing it since we started this podcast, and we will do it very likely until the day the podcast ends 50 years from now. So once again, we're going to say, let's all Joe to the movies. We're going to head out to Hollywood, and we're going to talk about and Jonathan, I'm going to kind of let you set the rules a little bit here. And lead the conversation, because this is, I mean, what's fun about it this time is it is coming from you, and it was something that you wanted to talk about. So I'm curious to hear your ideas. A few weeks ago, we did a tiny little bit of casting on our own, but I want to hear where your head's at. What do you want? What do you want out of let's say a live action Joe movie that's coming out in the next couple of years?
Well, Dave, to talk about what is to come, we must talk about what has come before, right?
Of course.
So, it sounded like you had some thoughts about Rise of Cobra. I'd like to hear them. I'm sure you've gone over it before, but my experience,
not thoroughly though, because we still have not reviewed the live action movies here.
That's crazy.
Well, we reviewed the Snake Eyes movie when it came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have not gone back and reviewed the other two. So we've obviously talked about them a little bit, but we haven't done official reviews yet.
Got it. My experience with Rise of Cobra, I was very excited about. I was enthusiastic. We were hot off the heels of several very successful Transformers movies. Not what the fans want.
Sure.
But I would argue what the fans need. Because, as we said before, Transformers is like a niche thing, right? Like, it doesn't feel like it now because it's been blown up because of these movies. But it is, in fact, a pretty niche deal. But the movies came out, and they were like the Super Bowl. And suddenly everybody's interested because it is a cool concept, especially seeing live action. Nothing's ever been seen like that before, right?
Yeah.
Got widely popular and just injected tons of money into Hasbro's pockets and enabled them to make some of the coolest figures they've ever made. So again, what the fans need, without that, who knows where Transformers would be now, right?
Yeah.
And I was sort of looking forward to the same thing happening with G.I. Joe. At the time, I don't think I knew what I really wanted from a G.I. Joe movie, because this is like, we're living in a post-Marvel era now where everyone's been trained to accept anything, you know? But you remember, before the Marvel movies, like, the thought of there being a Thor live action is insane. Like,
it'd be too
Captain
goofy.
America, too goofy, too corny. Like, it was ridiculous. And they lended legitimacy to these things, and the Marvel curve of, I don't know, suspended disbelief, kayfabe, whatever you want to call it.
Fantastical things that the audience can accept.
Yeah. It grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew to the point where you can make a Guardians of the Galaxy movie and everybody was like, yeah, great. I love it. So now I think you could probably.
I would like to clarify that, though. James Gunn can make a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and everybody's like, yeah. I think there's a whole long list of people who could have made that movie, and the audience would not have been like, yeah.
That's very true. And I will say that I think Guardians was the final barrier. Like, that was the one where it was like, you know, if you accept this movie, you'll accept anything. And they did. So we would do. So now I feel like you could just, you saw the Masters of the Universe trailer. You could just do a straight 1-to-1 without having to age it up or make it mature or like explain things. It's like, no, his name's Mechaneck and he's got a long neck. You know what I mean? Right. You're like, well, yeah, great. I'll take it. Sure. So now I feel like there's a lot more leeway for what you can make for the G.I. Joe movie. But at the time, you know, there was you got a lot of explaining to do. And it was an unfortunate era for them to make such a fantastical, very bizarre world feel realistic. And I think they went the X-Men route, the black uniforms, make it as badass as you can. And I think,
and yet
the premise fought itself a little bit.
But it had stuff in it that I've been arguing for years was straight out of Sunbow.
Oh, like what?
Like
I'm not arguing. I just want to talk about it.
Like
I want to hear it.
The nanites. The nanites eating Eiffel Tower.
Pruned the hedges.
That was
yeah.
Straight up Sunbow.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think people hated the power suits.
Oh, the accelerator suits. I thought they were cool.
I didn't find those to be particularly like outside of the realm of something G.I. Joe would have done. Matter of fact, in the 90s, G.I. Joe did it.
100%.
The crazy. I understand people who didn't like how Destro got the metal head, but at the same time, like, explanation wise, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Now, the only two things that I genuinely did not like, or like you said, everybody in the black uniforms, very X-Men, very 2000s. Like, that was disappointing, because part of what we love about Joe is how individualized everybody is.
Yeah.
Which is another reason I say that G.I. Joe should never be hardcore, like, true to life modern military, because we want those individual characters in sports jerseys and neon green jumpsuits and whatever else. And then the other thing that I didn't like was the triangle between Duke and Baroness and Cobra Commander. That was I understand why they thought that was necessary, but that was just not, I didn't care for that at all. But overall, and just to before we do our full review someday, I'll just say I enjoy that movie. Like I said, it's not the movie I wanted, and it's not the movie I would have made, but I don't think it's a bad representation of G.I. Joe for the most part.
Yeah. Kristian, do you have
a take on the public didn't love it.
No.
So I have not seen that movie since it came out. I will say my issue with the movie is when I'm all for suspension of disbelief.
Mhm.
When in a movie you set up certain rules and we go, okay, we have to suspend disbelief to make that work. I'm 100% on board.
Yeah.
If you break those rules during the movie, then just the way my brain is wired, I'm going, no, 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 no. You said this. You set up all of this, and now your nanite not feeling pain characters are doing this and feeling pain. So it immediately pulls me out.
Yeah.
I have held off on rewatching the movie because when we do our review, I want to be completely fresh with it. Like over time, my tastes have changed, my attitudes towards certain things have changed. So I'm curious where I will land on it. I will just say that when it came out, that is where I landed on it. I walked out disappointed. Again, I don't think disappointed in all the things that other people were disappointed with. Again, like the jumpsuits, like that really didn't bother me. I think that was also though the start, because I also went this route with the X-Men movies where I was like, oh my gosh, is the funeral over? Can we put people in individual costumes and have some fun? Or does everything have to be like you don't have to force some kind of melodrama romance into a movie for people to bring their girlfriends and feel like, oh, the only way they're going to watch this is because the Baroness and Duke are having a thing. Like, no. Let's just have a fun movie. And that is actually the very reason why Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is still to this day my favorite Marvel movie, because it just went, let's just have fun.
Yeah.
And that's, I want some serious beats in a G.I. Joe movie. I want to feel like there are stakes, but I don't want it to feel like it's real world.
That's the stakes are it. The situations need to feel like they're important, like they matter. There need to be stakes, but that doesn't mean everything needs to be gritty and grounded.
Right.
Like those are two different things. James Gunn, to go back to him, because honestly, he's my favorite filmmaker at this point.
Nice.
James Gunn can create very serious stakes that bring up emotions out of you, and he can carry them to their logical conclusion without throwing a fart joke in the middle. Like he has such a sharp sense of humor, but it never undermines the drama.
Right.
It helps it. It lifts it up. He uses those two things to support each other, rather than I don't want to. We're getting too deep into me getting ready to criticize a bunch of filmmakers I don't like. I'll just say this one last thing about Rise of Cobra before we move on. The climax scene is Cobra's freaking giant underwater base with submarines battling each other. That's awesome. we get a Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow showdown in the collapsing undersea base. That's awesome.
It is awesome. I think one of my main obstacles from loving the movie, it's a weird one, but like I'm a very, artist, I'm very visually and aesthetically channeled. It's like you said, the uniforms, that doesn't help me. The vehicles to me are not cool. It's fun. If you like them, great. That's awesome. To me, they didn't look cool, and I need a cool vehicle. So there was that bit, and I hate the way Snake Eyes looked in that movie. Hate it to my core. I hate it. The molded mouth, the pants.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
The rubber, like I hate it. And I know the artwork that they took it from. Like you can find it. It's an awesome looking piece of art. It's like he's holding his sword like that. He's got his tricep defined, and the way the artist painted it, his face mask
Well,
is pulled tight. So
I
you can
forgot
kind
his
of see.
Power
85?
Ranger mask.
Doesn't the 85 figure
I hate
have
it.
the little mouth?
I don't even care if that's the case. The original has like the ski mask with the 6 slits, right? And then the one after that, my favorite is the one with the visor.
So the 85 Ninja Snake Eyes figure with the visor, Ninja Snake Eyes, like the one, I think the one that most people look at and are like, that's a killer Snake Eyes figure. He's got a little mouth.
I don't like it. I hate it.
I will agree with you. For the purposes of that movie, they should not have given that guy a little mask mouth. It should have just been a mask.
Yeah,
but it didn't come anywhere near killing the movie.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. All right. So Retaliation, just zipping through.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about Retaliation?
It let me down. I felt like they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. Like there were some things about it that were completely awesome. The fact that Cobra won and took over the White House and that Zartan, like that reveal that Zartan is the president was awesome. And the fact that they actually did follow up, because so in that era, pre-Marvel, as you're saying, so often you would have franchise sequels that didn't really follow up. They would do the Evil Dead thing.
Yeah.
Like where Army of Darkness, when you start watching Army of Darkness, it is completely different from what happens at the end of Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, for sure.
And so many franchise type movies, to go back to X-Men, like there's not really a lot of continuity narrative wise between those first 3 X-Men movies. They're kind of just, well, here we've got some of these same actors playing these same characters, and that's really the only connective tissue.
Yeah.
And I admire the fact that we open with Cobra Commander and Destro in prison. Now, I don't love and I get it. Christopher Eccleston is Christopher Eccleston and had no interest in coming back to play Destro again. But I did hate that they just left him there. But like that jailbreak, Firefly breaking them out, Storm Shadow disguised as Snake Eye, like that whole open, Walton Goggins, as the prison
collecting them,
right, like
he's collecting his Joes.
They it was just cool that they had that level of continuity, but then it kind of that was sort of it, because we get the thing with Duke and Roadblock, and clearly there was a lot of, what's a family-friendly word I can use?
Goodness.
I'll just say shenanigans.
Sure, okay.
And we know that there were a lot of problems with that movie because it was originally supposed to come out, almost a year before it actually did?
Yeah, so Brett Wright actually chimed in and said, did we ever get a conclusive answer as to why Retaliation was delayed?
They were converting it to 3D is the answer that I heard, because that was the thing at the time. Now, I don't know, though, because if you go look at the Retaliation products that came out, a year beforehand, Roadblock has Arashikage tattoos and is like a ninja. I don't know the whole
there were
story.
Probably a lot of reshoots,
right,
going on.
So the movie is a mess, but the stuff that's in it that I like, and it feels very Joe to me. But then there's also a lot of just sort of meandering around, not really like. I thought Adrian Palicki as Lady J, like she's great. I really like her. She can hold a movie together. The guy that played Flint, I can't remember who it was, and I don't remember anything about his character. Bruce Willis as Joe Colton. That's awesome.
That's inspired. That's fantastic.
Great. I love it. And they're meeting when they meet up with him. But it also feels like this is a scene. It didn't feel rooted in the story. It didn't feel like anything with real history. It just felt like the writers were like, oh, this would be really cool. And they were right, but it's to the detriment of the movie, because, and that's really all the cool stuff in that movie feels like an idea that I had when I was a kid playing with my Joes, but didn't really know how to tell a story and put together a narrative.
Yeah.
They're all
Kristian,
just
same.
scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember even less. Since doing this podcast, when Noel and Dave talk about Retaliation, and I'm just like,
You're like, was that a movie?
I remember the
Right.
White House. I remember
People
Zartan,
don't even remember it.
and I mean, they talk about the Snake Eye Storm Shadow fight in the mountains or whatever, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
that's one of the best.
I have
So,
blocked this from my mind, like the way my dad used to hit me.
dude, the
Sorry.
the Rashikage stuff is awesome, except for, and look, I hate to say it,
I was gonna say it. Here it comes.
RZA
Go on.
maybe didn't
Yes.
need to be acting at that particular point in his career. And I bought the figure, RZA as Blind Master.
Yep.
It's so cool, but he's so bad. But everything else about that, all the mountaintop stuff is great. The battle is incredible. And again, though, it's a cool scene.
Yeah.
But nothing in the movie ties it together enough. And it's like, Kristian, it's like you said, did that even happen? Was that a real movie?
It's so weird because I'm with you. Like every sequence, I'll say,
The
that you
set
just brought
pieces
up
are all great.
are all cool. Like
Yeah.
everything you can bring up about it is cool. And as I recall seeing it, I remember like thinking like, oh, cool. And somehow it's less than the sum of its parts.
Yes.
I
yes,
don't know how
yes.
that's possible. How can you
You
take this many
nailed
cool
it.
things, put them together, and it's not cool? Like it doesn't make sense.
If you gave somebody who had not seen it and did not know its reputation, if you gave them a bullet point list of those things in the movie, they would be like, I can't wait to watch this. This sounds incredible. And then they'd watch it and they'd be like, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's right.
How did they mess that up?
So yeah. All right. So that's what we have. That's what's behind us.
That's our base.
That's what people see and kind of remember and sort of don't like. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody, like you say, like the G.I. Joe movie, they're like, oh yeah, totally. I don't think they have that. I don't think there's
even
a fondness for it.
I, who like them more than most do, am not like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So what do we want from a new
Right.
G.I. Joe movie? Right. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure this has been covered a million times. The challenge with a G.I. Joe movie is that it's so rooted in Americana, right? It is an American product about an American military. The aesthetics are red, white, and blue. It's stars and stripes. And like, I remember there was like a fold out that came with the Joes where they were holding up a flag and it was like
Sure.
like
Iwo
But
Jima,
I would push back
Okay.
on that, because when thinking about a G.I. Joe movie
Mhm.
and what they could do, my mind, because I kept thinking about how long does a G.I. Joe movie need to be, and how much needs to be crammed into it, right? And so my mind kept going back to the Sunbow miniseries, because
Okay.
we've reviewed most of them now, right? And 5 half-hour episodes are really only about 22 minutes because of commercials. So
Yeah.
you're talking less than a 2.5-hour movie for the Mass Device, the Weather Dominator. And we've talked about how those were very dense. And so the concept of G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, sure, very Americana, but when I think of those miniseries, there's not anything in them that makes me think this can't be international. You can't change things up, because we're not fighting on we're not scaling the Statue of Liberty in those miniseries like we are the opening of G.I. Joe the movie, if that makes sense.
No, I get you.
I mean, I think at this point we've already, whether every fan likes it or not, I do think in 2026 most people accept that G.I. Joe is an international organization.
Is
I
that
think
true?
Hasbro, I think yes.
They do? Okay.
Look, some people are real mad about it, but Hasbro has, and I think correctly, made the move to specifically identify G.I. Joe as an international organization. And this goes all the way back to like the 90s.
Yeah.
They have been making this adjustment. I'm not going to say change, but adjustment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting thing because it feels like it's in the DNA of the IP, right? So it's a lot of letters. And there's a thing in your head where you're like, well, if you move away from that, are you betraying the DNA of the thing, the point of it? Are you betraying
Many
it?
would say yes.
You know, right. Yeah. So it's tough. But in 2026, you need international box office to support a big movie. And I feel like it needs to be a big movie. So if you're saying that if they've laid the groundwork already and we're already accepting that it's an international organization, then that's the first hurdle that you jump. Like that's right away. It's like, that's okay. I'll tell you what, do you feel like we need, okay, obviously we need a reboot. We can't have any continuity.
I think it's got to be clean slate, fresh start. And we certainly don't need to acknowledge the end of that last Transformers movie.
Dude. Okay, I'm sorry. Sidetrack. That should have been my code name. Sidetrack.
Then you fit in perfectly here because that's all we do.
Yeah.
It sounds like you didn't dig it. Is that correct? We're talking about Rise of the Beast, right?
Right.
Yeah. When he flips the card over.
The only reason that I dug it was the possibility that we would finally get some more G.I. Joe, but that itself was so disappointing in that we didn't get a character that we recognized in any way. And then when he showed that big garage, there is nothing in it that's, you talked about the vehicles not being inspiring. Like, why wouldn't you fill that garage with Havocs and Killer Whales and Sky Strikers? But I think it was like just generic Jeeps and stuff. Like, there was nothing it was almost like they shot that scene and ADR'd them talking about G.I. Joe.
They may have.
Nothing said G.I. Joe about any of that. And it was very frustrating.
So you're right about that. And I would appreciate a George Lucas style redo of that last scene to let's put in some iconic vehicles. But for me, now we all saw Bumblebee.
Yes.
Okay. So you're watching Bumblebee and you're thinking the whole time, how is this not G.I. Joe? Why is this just Army? Why is this just special unit? Like, you've got John Cena there, who's the most G.I. Joe looking dude who's ever lived. Like, it's this secret organization and we're forming because there's an alien threat. And you're like, the origin is writing itself. The crossover is writing itself, and you are refusing to do it. You're sticking with.
People said the same thing about the older Transformers movies, where they had
that thought too. What was it? It was it's what Nest eventually came from, but I can't remember what it was called.
I can't remember what they were either. But same thing.
6, but that's actually G.I. Joe.
That would have been Joe.
But yeah, they had some organization built into the Transformers movies where you're like, come on, it should be G.I. Joe. Obviously, maybe that's where they're going. Let's see. And they never do it. And then at the end of Rise of the Beast, I had given up on that dream. I'm like, no, they love their Nest or whatever it is. They love it. Yeah. They love it. They're never going to. And then he flips the card over, and I'm the guy in the theater that went, oh, super loud, stood up and was like, yes, like Shia LaBeouf, and that, yes for this. So I was into it. I liked it.
So that movie came out right before Joe Fest one year,
Oh, wow.
and we already knew we were doing a panel at Joe Fest and heard that there was going to be a G.I. Joe connection in the movie.
I didn't hear that going in. Oh, man.
So my son and I specifically, I can't remember, did all three of us go see it or did just I go see it?
Just you.
So I took my son to see it so we could talk about it on that panel at Joe Fest.
Nice.
And we did. And you can hear that wherever you get your podcasts. It's episode, I don't know, it's episode however many years ago that was. But
yeah. Well,
yeah,
so,
I mean, it was exciting for the potential, but it was a letdown for what it actually was.
Gotcha. Well, all that to say that do you feel like another origin story is in order?
No.
You feel like jump right in and it's already a thing.
I think jump right in. Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is it a period piece? Is it set in the 80s? Do we do a little shorthand to make everything easier on everybody so we don't have to worry about what the technology looks like? We do 80s and that 5 minutes in the future technology, but from the 80s.
Got it. So we don't have to pretend like an F-14 Tomcat is cutting edge technology anymore. It actually is.
Yeah.
That's interesting because, okay, this all ties together because what I want from a G.I. Joe movie is Captain America Winter Soldier. Like watching that movie the first time in the theater, because you know, we are who we are, right?
Yeah.
So I'm watching that movie and I'm like, this should be G.I. Joe. This should be G.I. Joe. There's like one guy with powers and everything else is technology. And it's like espionage and there's like a secret organization and they have amazing vehicles and cool futuristic stuff. And by the way, someone at the head of it is corrupt. And like our guy finds out and he's underground and there's grappling hooks and there's assassins and secret words. And it's like, this is perfect. This is beautiful. This is exactly what I want from a G.I. Joe movie. And the only reason you get to have Winter Soldier is because they go period piece with the first Captain America. So it kind of all ties in. So you're right.
I would think, because the problem with if you set a G.I. Joe movie that is in whatever year it's released or around whatever year it's released, then you're having to kind of prognosticate what the tech should look like.
Yeah.
And when you get into dangerous territory where you're creating things that don't really look like G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of the problem with 2009 is it was set in modern day at the time. And they felt the need of, well, Cobra needs to have advanced weaponry. So they gave us the gunship, which I like that design, but it's not particularly standout compared to G.I. Joe stuff that we know. And we get those Neo Vipers that are what they are. They're the kind of half-ass remedy for like, well, we don't want to murder a bunch of people. Okay, well, we'll do a hybrid bat human type of thing. Like that to me is one of the biggest issues if you're trying to set it in the modern era is how do you do stuff that feels like Joe but feels like what Joe is now. It's where you're in the danger of just either going modern military, which is not what G.I. Joe is, or creating things that don't ring true. Which is why I think the period piece is the easiest way to very quickly communicate what is going on with everything. Like if it takes place in 1985 and it's like Buckaroo Banzai levels of technology, everybody gets it. Everybody understands like, yes, in 1985, this was advanced.
That's pretty cool. That's
just been my thought is because it's with G.I. Joe, you're starting from a difficult place because the military is not as big a selling point as it was in the 80s. So you're starting with something that has to be rooted in military, but it also has to have that fantastical element. You have to measure those things. You're starting with somewhat of a hard sell for the modern public. So if you go with no, it's and you can still. I'm not saying it's goofy in the 80s. Now it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to have a sense of fun, but they're all going to take it very seriously. The humor, it's. I had this kind of revelation the other day. Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, 1984 Ghostbusters, is a very funny movie, but it's not really a comedy. It is entertaining characters who are themselves funny.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot in it that's just straight up jokey.
No, not at all.
And then you've got the 2016 Ghostbusters, which, by the way, I enjoy.
Yeah, I did too.
But it is a comedy. It is jokey. It's tonally different. And I think you do Joe like 1984 Ghostbusters, where it is serious. What's happening is serious. The stakes are real, but we have these characters who are entertaining, who are fun, who we're really enjoying being with. Like I go back to, like, you get like a Terry Crews Roadblock in there.
Oh yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And we're in business.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. That's a really good point about the vehicles, though. I didn't think about that, because with a lot of other IP out there, I hate using IP, but here we are.
That's what it is, though.
It is what it is. Yeah. So there's a lot of iconography that you look forward to seeing live action. We want to see the Sword of Omens. We want to see what it looks like. We want to see you want to see. We want to see these things.
We want to see Trapjaw. We want to see the attack track. We want to see Castle Grayskull.
And they're all original designs. So you can bring them into whatever medium you want to, and they're immediately recognizable. Most of G.I. Joe's most iconic stuff is just real stuff. The Dragonfly is a real helicopter. Right. I can't remember what it's called right now. Huey Cobra. The Sky Striker is a Tomcat, and it's like everything is an actual vehicle that is like way out of date now. So and the worst is the Rattler, because like the A-10 is, this may be blasphemy, I don't think it's even a cool looking jet. It's cool in real life when it's flying over, but like
it was out of date in 1984.
Right. So
but I feel like that's part of what makes it work. And I don't want to say retro futuristic, because that's that sort of 1950s 1960s kind of House of Tomorrow kind of feel. But I do think that, and I think Wreck Ship actually had a good comment here. 80s Dreadnoks, 90s Mars, 2000s Cobra, 2010s, although I would say 2020s Cobra Law. Like there's, you take what is the best representation of certain aspects of Joe and mesh it together. So even if you're setting it in the 80s, you're also not necessarily confined to 80s era Joe. Like,
I agree with that 100%.
If you look at the Hiss tank, which very cool, but with it being Cobra, could you do that Valor versus Venom era Hiss tank that has the snake? Can you meld those sort of elements together, like the original Hiss tank design, with some of these more fantastical elements to get something that potentially is a little more timeless?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about most of Cobra stuff, like the Hiss tank, that looks cool still to me.
Sure.
Still a very futuristic tank, and that's Sword of Omens Thunder tank.
But then is that
I think that original Hiss design is timeless. I feel like it's still to this day looks like a futuristic tank.
So is that part of the battle, is that you have Mars creating fantastical, right?
Sure.
vehicles, and what Joe has to fight them with is a little more grounded. I'm not saying like current military,
Yeah.
but could your story lend itself to where you are left with, like, you have a Tomcat, they have whatever you
Well,
have, they have a his tank,
what
and
if we
you
had
have
something
Yeah.
what if we had something modern day that was, maybe similar to Renegades, where Cobra's ruling the world, or similar to the real world, I guess.
Yeah.
Cobra's ruling the world. They've got all the advanced technology. That's how they've taken over. Is they've got some evil billionaire has backed an organization to allow them to take over the world. Again, not like anything we're living in right now. And the Joes uncover, and maybe this is getting a little too complicated for something that we're trying to establish, but they find the underground headquarters of an old peacekeeping organization, and that's why all their equipment is like from the 80s. Like, we do a thing where G.I. Joe existed before.
well,
which I
and that's
kind of been done.
No,
when
but
I was
it's-
thinking plot wise. To me, G.I. Joe works best when there's a MacGuffin, right? That there has to be something that we're obtaining. And I also was thinking that the best way to accomplish this is Cobra has one, or at least an aspect of Cobra, and Cobra controls technology. Not everybody has access to it anymore, because that's what gives Mars all the wealth, right? We make all of the machinery that fights, and therefore what that gives you your underdog story of the Joe team versus Cobra, and it also lends itself to have some smaller character beats, because like I was thinking, there are so many characters, right? And everybody wants to see them, but it's hard to pull focus when you have so many characters. So you have a setup at the very beginning of the movie, where you have, hypothetically, the desert town, right? Because you're Scarlet, you're Stalker, you're whoever,
he has no thumbs.
there is something in that town, right, that they have to get, because it's either going to give them the location of where there's technology they can use, or something that is part of the MacGuffin that can defeat whatever this weapon is that Cobra has, right?
They need old analog stuff.
And so in that village, instead of Zartan necessarily being fantastical, you have the Renegades version of Zartan to be able to introduce him and sort of set him up, where you have these villains that can now take out this team of Joe and kidnap them. Like, we have to see that Joe continuously loses because all of these people that Cobra has hired has better weapons than them, so that then we're sort of left with, here's our team in this section of the world, and guess what? They're finally successful because they found the MacGuffin, where these other ones are wild goose chases.
I like it. Hilariously, like, don't you feel like this is how they came up with the end of Top Gun Maverick?
Okay.
Like, where they were like,
So
you
I
gotta have it.
thoroughly
And they're like,
enjoyed that movie, but
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah.
There wasn't, what, man, was there, please help me with my brain. Was there something cool recently that came out where it was like, no, we need analog technology because all the modern stuff was infected with a virus or something? Does that sound familiar?
I mean, I know it's been done. I cannot think off the top of my head of a single example, but I know that's a thing. I don't know if there's been anything recent, or if there has. I don't know that I've
Something
seen
like
it.
right in my brain, but regardless, I think that's a perfect way to go. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I like that too, and I'm glad we all agree on that point, because even though we've barely scratched the surface of the possibilities of a live action Joe movie, we have to move on, because we've got more show. And
Oh my
Kristian
gosh.
and I still have to review a comic after we wrap this thing up.
Holy crap.
We'll
So
have to do a part 2.
We will absolutely have to do a part 2. And we might do it on one of the audio episodes, so we can actually spend the whole time just talking about this. But clearly this was a good idea for conversation.
Yay.
So yeah, we'll leave it there we've got an idea that it does not have to be a period piece, but the concept of Cobra controlling technology, and Joe's being very underground and having to figure out how to fight that without using it, is a pretty good basis. And we've got to focus on characters. We've got to focus on entertaining characters that the audience will relate to and care about.
When you guys watched The Saint with Val Kilmer 100 million years ago, were you like, ooh, Snake Eyes?
I don't remember that movie well enough to.
I actually didn't watch it because thanks to Early Sci-Fi Channel, I remember the original Saint.
Gotcha. Just thinking about Joe movie stuff, it made me think about all the times that I saw a regular movie and was in a G.I. Joe movie space. Because at the beginning, he's like completely in black with visor on top and is climbing a wall. And I was like, oh, it's a Snake Eyes movie. And then at the beginning of Casino Royale, he's just Chuckles for like the whole thing. And you're like, oh my gosh, this would be amazing.
Yeah, and there are a lot of we could do a transplant episode as well, where we just transplant like roles into a G.I. Joe movie. But we got to move on, because it is time now for everybody's favorite segment of the show, the one where we go to the socials, we go to the Audible Army to talk about Sound Off.
Come on.
This is where, if you're following Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram, every time we're going to do a live stream, we put up a sound off post where we ask you, the Audible Army, what you want us to talk about. Kicking things off, our little buddy, our Cobra intern, Wreckship 85. It hasn't really happened yet with Classified, but what, if any, crossovers would you want to see done with G.I. Joe? And yes, I don't want to see it is acceptable. So we talked about this plenty, but I think there are so many different answers and so many different opportunities. But I'm going to stick with the ones I always say is Mask and Humanoids, like the stuff that we've seen as potentially part of a G.I. Joe universe for years now. Those are the ones I still would like to see. But do you guys go a little further outside the box than that, or what do you think?
Oh, you know what my answer is. Same thing it always is. I want to see Gem and the Holograms in a battle of the bands with Cold Slither, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still sticking with I'm burnt out on crossover stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I honestly, like, when I saw this question today, I was trying so hard, and I'm just like, unfortunately, and I do feel bad saying it, Wreckship, I don't want to see any right now.
It's funny that you're uncharacteristically crusty on this topic.
I know. It's because this is such a me topic, but I just think it's.
But I get it. I get it.
Prevalent right now.
And that's what it is that with every other IP,
especially Turtles, they're
all
crossover hookers.
It's crazy. So I get it.
Is in this case, just out of curiosity,
is a crossover like just two universes happening in the same space, or is it like you're mixing and matching characteristics and mashing characters together and stuff? I really don't.
I think it could be either. It really depends on what it is. Because, I mean, technically, well, as of now, Mask is not even a crossover. It's just part of G.I. Joe because
Right.
Skybound is doing that. And historically, Gem and Inhumanoids are both part of G.I. Joe as far as Sunbow is concerned. So really, my answers aren't even crossovers. But it could be anything from that to Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joe to, I mean, it could be whatever. It's basically things that you tend to think of as separate IPs crossing over in some way, whether it's a story way or whether it's these Ninja Turtle G.I. Joe figures that honestly I completely forgot about until I mentioned them just now. I completely forgot those were even happening.
Yeah, it's
so yeah, I mean it could be any number of different things, like the Transformers G.I. Joe, those literal crossover toys that they did. It could be whatever.
Gotcha.
Next up, Tom Henry. I know you guys likely don't have time, but I'd like a breakdown of all the Silent Cobra missions sometimes, maybe as a standalone Audible Interlude episode. Yeah, honestly, we probably will not have time. I would love to do it. I'd love to review all of the comics, but it is literally a time issue. With that said, Copperhead has always been cool, but there seems to be an effort to elevate the character into a main operative of Cobra, which I'm cool with, don't get me wrong. Is this something I'm imagining, or when do you all think it started? Hashtag Hydra Sled 2026.
Nice.
All hoping for that Hydra Sled, Tom.Henry. I mean, you guys may have a different answer, but I feel like it's literally like the classified Copperhead with Lenny's headcanon. Like, well, his reference to the original file card, but kind of his excitement.
Yeah.
Seems to be that leveled Copperhead up a little bit.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah,
there
no,
you go.
You one and done.
I was
Nailed
thinking.
Yeah. Joe, ARAH.42. Are vehicles, regardless of size, even going to be possible at the price points we are facing? Are we at a tipping point where, as collectors, sometimes it's better to want than have?
To me, and this just tells you what stage of collecting I'm in, all collecting is better to want than to have. When you talk about spiking the needle, like seeing it on that screen or on that shelf, or like it's shipped or it's coming or it arrives, is like always better than, oh yeah, no, I have that. I have it in the room.
It's hard to say.
I think we're facing a tipping point in that I think that more people are being selective, but I know even for me, when the prices of the current new stuff are now up there with what it would cost to get some of my dream pieces from the vintage line, that I've always been like, ooh, that's so expensive. Well, if I'm gonna drop $110 on a despoiler in classified, what's stopping me then from going on eBay and dropping $110 on, a vintage vehicle?
Right.
That
I've had that same mental conversation of like, wait a minute, wouldn't I rather have like one of the things I need to rebuild my collection than this new thing? But it's getting caught up in the momentum of, the current collection.
But I also look at stuff like Gridiron, and they're still churning out $300-$400 vehicles. So I think that
people are buying like 5 of them.
There is a market for it, but I do think when it comes to the average consumer, like collector, there is a tipping point. There
I
does
think
come
so.
a point where, I mean, and we've seen it even with the podcast where people are like, oh, I'm going to wait for this to hit Ross.
Yeah.
Well, I will sum up with the one little statement that I wrote to this. American material excess seems to have no limits. Next up, our pal Gary from the Dragon Con American Sci-Fi Classics track, who we are pleased to work with every year at Dragon Con. Sneezy the Squid says, so with the Frag Viper, Overkill, and Hydro Viper, what should be the next Cobra Trooper to get the genetically modified treatment Weird Fit? And what should the Joes do to counter these modified soldiers? Robo Joes? Cobra. Also, hashtag Hydrosled 2026. We're building up a demand for that Hydro Sled.
There's a
First
groundswell.
of all, Gary, I will say Robo Joe is always singular and always will be, and don't you forget it. I like the idea of putting Astro Viper in this genetically modified, like, weird face. I think that'd be cool. It makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think any of those hyper specific troops like that, I think they could to do that with.
Because when I think of how unexcited I was for the Frag Viper, and then once I had it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like one of my favorite troop builders. So I thought, what is my next least favorite troop builder that I'm like, I can skip that? And that would be the Laser Viper.
Next step.
Yeah.
If they make a cool genetically modified underneath that garish helmet, I'm probably going to be suckered in.
That is pretty cool. Okay.
And make him more like Rio Blast.
That's great.
I mean, I would be happy if they made everybody more like Rio Blast. Can we just make a Rio Blast action figure line? But it's him, but just different. Do Rio Blast like they did with that He-Man that was the tank and the spaceship.
Yeah.
But do Rio Blast in every era where there've ever been firearms.
That's pretty good. That's a good pitch.
All just Rio Blast. Let's go.
Yep.
Oh, and as far as what should the Joes do to counter them, that Joe doesn't typically respond with analogs like that. Like, the whole point is that the Joes are counting on the skills and dedication of their team rather than gimmicks. Now, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of gimmicks in Joe, but not the way that Cobra has them, like the genetically modified stuff. Like, Joe is more about, skills and teamwork to win the day.
Teamwork harder.
So, yeah. So it's not really
accelerator
a one-to-one type of thing.
Not a one-to-one, because I agree with you that Robo Joe is singular. But I also was thinking, Gary, that if Joes were to have someone go up against Laser Vipers, it would be an armored Robo Joe.
Amen.
Jonathan, anything specific coming to your head on this one, or Laser
I'm going
Viper
with the crowd
sounds
on
pretty
this.
darn good?
Going with the crowd.
Yojo fan, you've probably covered this before and I just missed it, but what percentage of your collection is out for display versus packed away in storage? This could almost relate to a couple of questions ago. While I love the classified line, I don't have a lot of space, so I mostly stick with 3 3/4 and 4-inch. If I was all in on classified, I would run out of space quickly and a lot of stuff would end up sitting in storage. So I'll just answer this real quick. Maybe 60% of my stuff is displayed, and I've got totes and totes and totes in my storage room. It's tough.
Yeah. I probably got 40% on display, mostly in storage, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was thinking I have somewhere probably like 30-35% is able to be displayed, hence the rotating displays.
Yeah,
for me.
Smart.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, space is an issue for sure. And that's, that is another factor of the question about vehicles before. It's not just about price. It's also about space. Silent Interlude. I'm doing my best to give input that is not segment worthy, which we're still sitting on a segment suggestion from Silent Interlude from a few weeks ago. I don't want to steal anyone's joy, but in my opinion, the skull face paint is officially worn out. The Headhunter Stormtrooper, Range Viper, Delta 17 Shepherd, Operation Recall Mortefero, and Dark Reapers, the Classified Legacy Sox Ops, etc., are all fine figures, great even, but let them be the last for a while. I'm fine if no more new figures come with any kind of skull face deco. Bring on the gas mask, optic enhancements, and cool visors, please. Yeah, I agree. Matter of fact, I would go so far as to say the only character that I think actually looks really cool with face paint is that Tim Bradstreet Punisher. And that should have been the last of it.
That's pretty cool.
So we're all thumbs up on let's put skull face to rest for a while.
Look, everybody's making good points. Like, it's hard to argue against them. Like, it's like,
Right.
Yes, it does feel played out. That said, I'm very much looking forward to Jared Leto's Skeletor this summer.
Oh boy, there's a whole episode. Let's move on before it happens. Rexero 15. So I've been thinking of getting the G.I. Joe deck building game, and I know there's the G.I. Joe Mission Critical game, HeroScape, Risk, and Axis and Allies. What other Joe-related board games would you want, and have you played any? So, you guys got any input on this one?
This is a blind spot for me.
Yeah, I don't, unfortunately, because as all our listeners know, with my work, I have zero time for board games. I love the concept of it. I would really like to do the G.I. Joe Risk, but they would just sit in a, or not sit in a tote, but they would just live in a tote. So
I've got a game night group, but none of them are Joe fans, and like we have so many other common interests that it's not worth so many other common interests and so many great games we play. It's just not worth the, hey, you guys should check out G.I. Joe. There's no point to it. Because there's so much other stuff that we do.
Yeah.
We just, oh man, what is the game we just played that was so good? Fork, Milk. I can't remember the third one. It's like FMK, the what I'm not going to say on our family friendly show, but it's different. It's Fork, Milk, Kidnap, maybe, something like that. And it was so much fun. And I got it for $5 at Walmart. It was on clearance, and they had 50 of them. So if you check your local Walmart, they may have this game. But anyway, sorry, I can't really answer this too well. We tried to play a Masters of the Universe game months ago, and it was not fun, and that's all I'll say about it.
Oh, it's too bad.
It's and look, it's tough because you have so many different flavors. Right here, talking about like Axis and Allies. I remember trying to play that with my dad when I was young. And I mean, I don't think I've ever cried that many times in a day in my life. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would be a good Joe game. I've got G.I. Joe Monopoly up there, and I've got the old, as we've talked about on the show, I've got all the old board games over here.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know what to recommend. Sorry. If the chat wants to throw anything out there, let us know. Well, that wraps up Sound Off. We've got one last segment, and we're going to speed through it here. As a matter of fact, well, Jonathan, did you come ready with a Joe and Tell? Did you?
I do have a Joe and Tell
on camera,
and it's weird.
We're going to do a speed round of Joe and Tell, but I'm going to go first because, oops, I did it again.
He has a custom Britney Spears made from a G.I. Joe classified.
I ordered another box of shirts from Super 7 because that deal was just too good. And I just real quick, we're going to find out if I got any doubles, if I got anything new. We'll see what's in
Live
here.
unboxing.
Live unboxing. And I got same shredder and a soup can shirt. But that's okay because that's a prize for the game show.
Nice.
Got what looks like just a plain black t-shirt. Not very exciting.
Oh, yeah, I'll take one of those.
Oh, it's just Super 7. Oh, that's kind of cool. Super
Oh.
7 hardcore shirt. I actually really dig that. That's one I'll wear. So there is some variety in here. I think this is another Super 7 shirt.
Flip it around.
It's like a cheeseburger. What is that?
It
Is that
some-
the
oh,
worst?
it's zombie beef.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Oh, these are. I've got some different stuff in here. This is kind of cool. Oh man.
Oh, cute.
Bert and Ernie.
That's awesome.
And last one,
Ernie and Bert.
another right. Another yellow. Oh man.
Who's that?
There's
Reptar.
Reptar.
Oh, nice, dude.
So that is
Very cool.
Rugrats. Rugrats were never my bag, so that one is going to be a little giveaway. But one duplicate, 4 new ones, not too bad. I'll take it for $8 a piece.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
crazy.
Let's go. All right. Jonathan, what do you got for us?
All right. So I don't think there are any rules really about this Joe and Tell. So
Nah.
I wanted to grab something that's a little bit unusual for me. Like it's not like a figure or something, but it's very personal. And I really love this. And I haven't thought about this in a long time. So this is my little file box from growing up.
Yes.
That my mom got me. Literally says file box. And
Wow.
it's 89 cents from Albertsons. And it is where I cut out and stored all my file cards growing up. This is like an actual treasure to me. Like
That is awesome.
this is like if the house is flooding again, this is one of the things I'm grabbing and taking with me. But it comes with bonus coolness because besides all the cool file cards, I've not pulled this out in over 2 decades.
Yeah,
so
they
it's
are
super
jammed
cool.
in there. I love
Right?
that.
Look at that. Wow. Cut them all out myself by hand. Inside are all my flag points.
Flag points. Yes.
So
That's
if these are
great.
still legal tender, I think I can get some pretty cool stuff.
I
All
say
these-
you get Rexship to hit Lenny up, and we're gonna get Lenny to redeem those flag points for you.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, look,
That
fast
needs to
draw.
happen. That's great. Oh man,
so cool.
that's a good Joe and Tell because legit stuff I still have from my childhood. That's golden.
Oh, it smells like the 80s. Fantastic. So yeah, that's my thing today. What do you guys?
That's great, man. Thank you for sharing that. I love
Yes, sir.
that. All right, Kristian, what you got?
All right. Well, so my Joe and Tell is G.I. Joe adjacent because he would not exist
Uh-oh.
without the Japanese G.I. Joe line.
Ooh.
And as we have talked about Micronauts on this channel before, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh man,
I got a Biotron.
You have so much cool stuff.
And he is so awesome. And he has been sitting on my Cobra shelf because absolutely he is fighting the Super 7 Cobras and Joes. So, yep. I don't know if his electronics still work. I haven't put batteries in him yet to check, but he he is beautiful.
That's
And
freaking cool, dude.
those
Yeah.
2 weeks of no days off were worth it.
Can I see the back?
Yeah. Oh yeah, his treads are in perfect shape.
That looks so good.
The seller didn't
Oh.
actually have any photos of the back, so I was very, very nervous. But there are people that make repros just in case you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
access to get one. But his were there, and they're in great shape. All the joints are really tight. So yeah,
That's
Yeah,
killer.
that's really
uh,
cool.
killer.
Japanese
Yeah.
GI Joe gave birth to Takara's Microman line. So
Joe
make it work.
adjacent for
Joe adjacent.
sure.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Well, that is all the show we've got for you this week. We want to thank our very special guest co-host, Jonathan Davenport. Where can we find you online, and what are you up to right now?
You can find me exclusively on Instagram these days because, as I always say, X is a trash pile. Check me out on Instagram at Davenport, where you can check out all my pro wrestling gear designs. I got some Superman stuff I'm going to be posting in the next few days after it's
Heck yeah.
officially open and out. And that's where you can find me in all my adventures.
Awesome. Kristian, where can we find that toy photography you do so well?
You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky under the name Legion Cub.
Our music is by Chris Lodge of Neon Warlords. Be sure and check out Neon Warlords here on YouTube and all over the socials. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. And remember, our next live stream is right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel on May the 11th. Until then, yo, Joe!
Cobra. 1 is the loneliest number.
I like that the Cobra goes down.